Today on the Daily Dose, the 1980s. By the end of Jimmy Carter's one-term presidency, America's dreams of the 1960s had been beaten down by inflation, big government spending, and a rising crime rate, leading many Americans to embrace a new social, economic, and political conservatism during the 1980s. The new right movement was driven by Yuppies, or young urban professionals, and disappointed liberals known as Reagan Democrats, which in turn swept Ronald Reagan into office in a landslide victory. Many historians link the rise of the new right in part due to the erupting growth of the Sunbelt in the southwest and California, when scores of disillusioned Americans fled northern and midwestern cities to escape aging infrastructures, overcrowding, pollution, and crime. By 1982, the United States was living through its worst economic recession since the Great Depression, witnessing some 9 million unemployed Americans by November of that same year. After Reagan took office on January 20, 1981, he set about making good on his promise to extract the federal government out of Americans' lives and wallets, implementing massive industrial deregulation initiatives, reductions in government spending, and across-the-board tax cuts for individuals and corporations alike. Known as Reaganomics, the president's trickle-down supply-side economic policies fired the American economy, making the decade a prosperous one for most Americans, at the same time tripling the national debt during Reagan's 2 terms in office. Despite such a massive increase in national debt, Reagan left office in 1989 with the highest approval rating of any president since FDR. Pop culture thrived in the 1980s with television shows like 30-something and movies like The Big Chill and Bright Lights, Big City, which portrayed a generation of otherwise successful young Americans who suffered from anxiety and self-doubt. At the movie theaters, blockbusters like E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Beverly Hills Cop took in hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. Teen movies thrived as well, including The Breakfast Club, Some Kind of Wonderful, and Pretty in Pink. By the end of the 1980s, 60% of American households had cable TV, making shows like MTV an American staple, as it aired music videos by artists such as Duran Duran, Culture Club, Madonna, and Michael Jackson. At the same time, heavy metal acts like Metallica and Guns N' Roses gave expression to a sense of malaise, pandemic among many young Americans, particularly young men, making the 1980s a time to remember for Gen Xers and baby boomers everywhere. And there you have it, the 1980s. Today on the Daily Dose, get your nerd on with the Daily Dose and learn something new every day. Subscribe to the Daily Dose on YouTube or sign up for emails at dailydosenow.com.